Okay, so you'll have seen I put up some photographs. That's because there's not quite as many photos in the talk, so I thought I'll give you an early. Uh, Someone's saying about lights. Maybe we can turn a few off if it helps people see the screen. Okay, so we're going to go back to the origin of All-Born Carnival. So let's travel back in time. Aren't I getting flash, eh? It's Sally Ann and Young Beatles up to the ante for me. So let's start with the known list of carnival queens. So sometime later, if anyone wants got any corrections, please do tell me. But that's what I believe I've got. So I'm going to jump back from that to what is probably my favourite carnival entry. The effort involved in this, I think, is probably more than most entries. Building that, and I still can't quite figure out how they managed to make it go forward. I'm told they did have a mast until it started interfering with telegraph wires. Yeah, we've got another photo of that heading up Baden Hill, which is tight at the best of times, but a Viking longboat heading up Baden Hill. Anyways, so let's head back. So that was 1975. 1974, the 59th on All-Born Carnival. So we're 110 this year. But quite where is the beginning? Because we, as you notice from the Queens, there's a gap for the war. So now where are we counting from? What happened around potentially the First World War as well? It's all a bit fuzzy, and I'm afraid there's not much paperwork, so I've done a bit of digging. So that was the Western Daily Press, where we advertised near Swindon M4 interchange 15. I'm interested in the language at interchange versus slip junction. You know, we all call them junctions now, but interchange, very American sounding. Plus the best brass bands in the West. So we jump back 1966. Carnival Queen there. Obviously, some of the photography in certainly 60s and 70s, the cameras weren't that wonderful. So we'll go back a little bit further. 1958. Hands up if you can see yourself. 1, 2. Well done, folks. If anyone wearing a mask, it's a good way of hiding your identity. Carnival's really good if you've hidden your identity. So that's 58. 1950s. Very classy looking entry. Right, okay. So the Carnival Queen crowning. So now we're back into the era of if you sold the most tickets, you'd be Carnival Queen. When Carnival Queens had to go around hoiking tickets to all and sundry. So, yes, that is Terry Gilligan. He's not changed a bit. I can see his face at the moment. Right, okay, so let's jump back further in time. All-Born Carnival, 1951. Very, very 51 theming because you've got the Festival of Britain sign there and a map of where to find us by the looks of it. Yeah, the Oliver Hawkins. So the Hawkins were well in, but so the inside of that we can see what they were doing. So we've got the crowning, exhibition of antiques and works of art, grand whist drive, grand carnival procession, headed by the massed bands of Aldbourne and Kennet Vale Silver Prize bands and Carnival Dance, as you said. So we've got classes for the procession: infants, boys, infants, girls, junior boys, junior girls, senior boys and girls, open class horse riding. We don't see enough horse riding these days. Most original and best decorated motor or horse-drawn vehicle. We're going to have come back to more horse-drawn vehicles. Most original and best decorated motor car or light van. No heavy vans here, please. £1 prize for both. Pushing the boat out. A, decorated, best decorated house. B, best decorated shop or business. Wouldn't be much competition for that these days, unfortunately, but maybe we should bring those back. Best decorated house. I'm looking at the committee here, making work for them. So that is the problem, isn't it? Okay, so we finished with the church service, so fine. So now we jump back to the war years. This is Andrea West. She kindly sent me a copy of this photo. So this gets us into what happened during the war. We know that we've got a gap in the queens or the monarchs, but this is Andrea dressed as a land girl, aged 2.5. So thinking is that although there wasn't a full carnival, maybe there was something a bit more for children so that they didn't miss out on something. So I got into digging into the carnival during the war, which I hadn't expected until I got given this photo, so that was timely. Right, so this is 1941. During the past week, efforts have been made to put into effect recommendations of hospital carnival committee. This is going to become very significant, to raise funds for Sabonac Hospital in aid and the Aldbourne and Baden District Nursing Association. Hauling for a pig was supervised by Mr. E. Davies. And we've got any pigs, Andy? We can do that. So a limited quantity of refreshments was served. Yeah, but it was 1941. And we got some winners, but not quite sure what they were winning prizes. So we've got a Gilligan in there again, of course. But, and what the Boobies Regimental Sergeant Major Mumford is about. I'm not even going to pause on that too long. So we go back a little bit further, 1940. So this year's effort for the Aldbourne Hospital Nursing Association Carnival, it's a bit of a mouthful rather than just calling it the Carnival, will have to be much curtailed or altered to suit war conditions. Discussed at a public meeting held at the vicarage. So they've got financial statements. This year's effort discussed, considered very difficult to arrange usual carnival and procession fancy dress classes. Same time, everyone felt that ought to be made to do something. Eventually, and we lose a sentence because it's flipped off the bottom there, but we do know that they held a dance, I believe, on the 17th. So it wasn't out of people's minds due to the war. There we are. So 1940. Once again, owing to war conditions, considerably curtailed this year. Felt, however, that financial help deserving courses ought not to be withheld. Decided on that as much as possible should be raised by less spectacular means. The fancy dress parade, the crowning of the Carnival Queen, and the attendants being dropped. Um, so, where are we? So I'm having to read this through while I do it. Many members of the Holborn Civil Band have been called up for military service, but those remaining gave valuable aid in many different ways and played selections in different parts of the village under the conductorship. On Saturday evening, with the band in attendance, house-to-house collection was made. So we sort of got a carnival session, but not really. But I think we have to understand it's a war on. So I think that's got to be pre-war. I think, given those hairstyles, I might even be pushing towards early 30s or maybe late 20s. But I do love the old photos. Well, yes, everyone, nobody knew in those days. Well, thankfully not the child. Not yet, anyway. It's again not clear when this is, but I think given the style of the motor vehicle, I think we've got to be saying 20s or so. Not bad bit of decoration. Well, yeah, but no clue as to what they were doing. There's a bit hanging down. That square at the top might have something on the other side, of course. Yeah, milkmaids. Yeah, true. So something to do with milkmaids. Lovely. Right. Okay, so this is 39. We've got pig bowling again. Popular event. Um, and they had a fine old time, but I'm looking to see if I've got a number for how much they raised in there, and I can't quite see it. But we've certainly got the carnival procession. The village was gay with flags and other decorations, and the weather was delightful. Oh, we love delightful weather, carnival, don't we? Wet ones, miserable. Um, a pleasure fair in the square, reminding one of the Allborn feast. So we've still got that pairing of the fair and uh, so yeah, we get various sort of. We've got the Newbury and South Berks band were allowed into the procession, followed by the Queen, Maids of Honor. We get a write-up of the Queen's attire. She wore a dress of white satin under white net. Miss Lydia mauve satin, Miss Stacey blue satin, Brenda Smith pink voile. Allborn Engineering have provided their vehicle. And then we get to our band as well. And the fire brigade, that's fairly constant with fire brigades around somewhere. And the procession ended in the grounds of the old rectory. Give you another option. Right, so let's jump back a little bit more. 1937, lots of write-up. We are not going to go through this. It does say continuous rain, but it stopped in time for the procession. But having been in the 101st and remembering how wet we got while we were hanging around on the field, that's not fun. So we've got an entry, this freedom, which is interesting. So 1937, that's sort of like a bit topical. And the fleet's in port again. And the Browns enter a Dutchman's house with a working model of a windmill. And Mr. C. Stacy entered as Spanish refugees Very topical. 1937. And would you believe it? We have a photo. They are Spanish refugees, or at least what Alborn folk thought Spanish refugees looked like. I'm not sure whether they'd seen Spanish refugees at that point. So refugees from Bilbao, and we've got a donkey-drawn cart. So that's 37. 36. Fine weather. Yay. Bowling for a pig again. Um, and yeah, there's so much detail and options for what, and you get a full write-up of all the entries, meaning it's very difficult to actually sort of do justice to this because we haven't got time to read them all. Um, we have that photograph of the man holding a pig. Yeah. So we know the name. No, we don't always talk about the singing things. I suspect now that it's actually the prize winner of one of these big. I think there seemed to be a bit of a village thing. I think I've seen it on other events as well. People bowling for a pig. So that maybe these prizes. Yeah. Um, they had village people. They had village people as the adjudicators, which is interesting because nowadays we try and get people from outside. And the best entry was awarded to Mr. and Mrs. C. Stacey for the satirical representation for the 1936 summer exhibit being entitled Haymaking 1936. The satire element of that is somewhat lost on me. I don't quite get what. Ah, okay. Inside the vehicle was a water tank supplied rain. Okay. Sitting beneath an umbrella. Okay, so that's getting quite creative, isn't it? That's probably written up in the manor somewhere, isn't it? Um, okay, so we're going back to 1936. We've got the Queen and her attendants. And a properly decorated shop to celebrate. That's yeah, I think it's the little one that's for sale at the minute. Okay. 1935. Molly Brind. Now, we were happy to get hold of this. The cart is marked brown. So this is one of the Browns entries. It's a beautiful old cart, isn't it? It has to be said. Huh? Is it going to be? Maybe when they get tours of Wharton, we can go and see it. They're talking about opening Wharton up now. So if you've got all these horse-drawn entries, I think you wanted to be on a float rather than walking. Oh, you're good for the roses if you nip out after the carnival's been around. That 1934. I did find the press article to go with that, or I haven't put it up. It's entitled Bluebeard. I think we can just about make out he's wearing a beard. Yeah. So it's a pirate car. Pirates are one of those perennial topics that keep on coming back almost as much as the Red Arrows. Right, 1933. Diving back, more success owing to the efforts. We've still got the Hawkins involved. Uh, Savernake Hospital takes 80% of the net profits, leaving 20% to the Allborn and Baden Nursing Association. So we've got cricket match, tug of war, procession again. Um, we've got a Chiltern band now. Who knew there were quite so many bands around? Prize winners, Miss Fox kindly presenting to the winners, boys under 8, drummer boy, sweep. Um, 3, Brian Stacey, why did I kiss his girl? Mm. Then we've got Red Riding Hood, Fortune Teller, Hudson Soap, got a Knight, 10 Little Nigger Boys. Oh dear. It's of its time. We can't judge it. Um, Tony Gilligan, players, please. So it sounds like Tony Gilligan was pushing cigarettes, but um, um, and we get a carnival dance again, United Service, carnival. It does look like 150 dancers. That's if that's yeah, it says the mem hall. So you've rammed 150 people in. No health and safety in those days. Fit as many in as you like. It must have been a tad steamy. Um, so uh, yeah, so they talk about the expenses of the hospital. It doesn't seem to include a number for the actual how much was raised, which is a shame. Um, right, okay, so let's go back a little further. So, rather foolishly, I haven't got the year on this. But anyway, so we can still see it's very much tied up with the hospital. We've got horse-drawn vehicles, uh, cricket instead of sports, and then Jesters of Today, a tableau by Stacey and Company was well arranged. Um, so we seem to have tableaus. I don't know, were they static tableaus? In these days of rapid transport, the tableau called 1800 Safety First, Slow but Sure, was of considerable interest. Some of the villagers elected to ride in an antiquated cart drawn by a pony. Maximum speed was but a few miles an hour. Um, so yes, procession led by the fire brigade. Then got the prize band, jump foliette, military band. Yes, I'd say I've got it out of order. I think, yeah, okay. Pass on to something that I know is definitely 1931. So, on Saturday, the village presented a gay appearance, the Butts especially distinguishing itself by its entrance to Little Wembley. Um, so then we also, in the afternoon, comic football match between the ladies dressed as men and the men dressed as ladies. There is nothing new in the carnival. resulted in a win for the ladies, and the referee, who occasionally turned a blind eye to the ladies' offences while seeing the infringements by the men. Mr. Jerram was dressed as a huge football, from which only his head and his limbs protruded. The receipts from this match, over £2. Whoa, lots of money. So we've got Fancy Dress Carnival in the evening with lots of entries, all sorts of things, some of which probably wouldn't go down so well now. Animal drawn vehicles. 1, the Browns, Essen Courts and Blands, Broughton Head and Taylor, the Pirates. 2, Baden wagons representing Britannia, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and John Bull. So lots of different things. Yeah. I like it when people read what's on screen. Right, 1931. I'm going to have to try and remember that now, because I'll have to record that later. Lovely stuff. Yeah, pirates keep on occurring. They're perennial, the pirates. Excellent attendance. £8.11 taken on the door at the dance. We don't get to find out how many this year. Yeah. Well, this is probably the Queen's, really. Actually, were we predating the Queen's by now? I think we are predating the Queen's. And not original. We didn't have Queen's all the way back. Yeah. So we got good weather on the Saturday. Sunday was rather wet. So the United Service held in the Memorial Hall, crowded to overflowing. So lovely. 1930. Satisfactory result. A profit of over £50. 1930, that's good going. And you can see there's a lot of text there. Having done the count for a few years, £30 in old money would have been so easier to count than 5p pieces now. I'm not a fan of 5p pieces. We've got a social evening. Lovely. So 29. Not for many years has the annual effort made by the village of Albourne been interfered with so much by bad weather as it was on Saturday. Oh dear. As usual, many attractions have been arranged, but the rain which fell from an early hour in the morning continued until evening, except for an occasional break. Carnival evening event, despite the good turnout. Yay. Rain held off during the carnival procession, making a tour of the parish. So we have, we get. Oh yeah, now that you're back in the 20s, pre-war, we had a fire brigade and our own little fire engines. This is 29. This would have been after Adam and Eve. The strength of the village carnival seemed to lie in their original ideas for horse-drawn vehicles. Winner in this class was an effort of the villagers of Baden. Dozen people accommodated on a very large wagon drawn by a couple of bay horses with a white donkey at the rear. Riders were dressed as gypsies, and mother had charge of of the spit. She was cooking a rabbit. Whole splendid picture. We've got jesters of today. That's funny. We've got the 1800 safety first. I think that this is definitely 1929. This one because this, yeah, this cut. I've harvested these from the British Newspaper Archive, so I think that other one must be 29. But these images off the newspaper archive aren't as good as scans as you get from a real piece of paper. They're at times fairly poor. But we do have a fire brigade again, so lovely. Still going back. We're still going. We're keeping on going back. So the Fourth Hospital. Um, Vicar presided, good attendance. Told a carnival on the evening of that day. Football match between Albourne and Ramsbury arranged for the afternoon. United service. Yeah, that must have doesn't tell us what happened. Um, I bet this is a predictor. This is so short. This is telling us what's going to happen. Um, so that was 28, 27. Total takings in connection with the hospital carnival amounted to £116, 10 shillings and 8pence halfpenny. Voigt has expenses of £42, 7 shillings and 6pence. Then we get a detailed breakdown. So tickets sold for the sports meeting, £5. Ramsbury jazz band boxes. So we have always been completely at loggerheads. We've still got church collections in there. We're going to see more of the church collections as the further we go back. And the print is appalling on this one. But we've got various box. The Queen's Inn box. So all the pubs running boxes, various people running boxes. So yeah, these days it'd be a shaker can, but those days, or bucket, big bucket for even more in. Yeah, have you got them? Have you got them still? Oh. Ah, that's a shame. Okay, so 1927 Hospital Carnival. Good attendance. So the vicar is going to be the chairman for the ensuing year, and they're reserving the 20th, 21st, 22nd of August. It moves around. Moves around. Now, this one, not necessarily carnival, but I put it in because it just goes to show all born folk love dressing up. And yes, there are at least one or two in there that people would frown at these days. The guy with the scythe looks positively scary. Well, 1914, I guess the exposure times might have been slightly longer. So now, this is, I think I'm going to be right in saying, this is the oldest image we've got of something called Carnival, of Carnival. 1909, still dressing up, thankfully nobody blacking up. Yes, you're right. Carnival at times was either on Boxing Day or between Christmas and New Year. So you'd have wanted plenty of layers in your dressing up. You're right. They don't look happy. I think it's down to exposure times, and it's not the social media selfie generation. Well, yes. They're probably thinking, "Come on, chap, take that photo." Right, so this is obviously not an original report, but a rather proxy one from the old parish news. But we have got the carnival on Boxing Day with a torchlit procession. Because if you're on Boxing Day, it's going to be getting dark for what, about 4, half 4, if you've got good weather. Um, and this one seems to have been in aid of the band and raised about £5. So this is about an outlier. We're doing it for the band. Um, uh, yes, yes, nothing of serious nature happened at some other festivities. A young girl named Stroud had the misfortune to displace her kneecap. Prompt and kind attention shown, the injury was soon put right. Push it back in, you'll be right. Oh, right. So 1903. So this is not Alborn, but this is in Marlborough. But we've got Alborn folk attending. So I think we're now back into. We're not gonna. I don't think we're getting any more mentions of Alborn Carnival, but we can see where Alborn people are taking part in a carnival before it's in Alborn. So that sort of feeds the thing. We've got the Jerums, um, and I think these are these sort of trade entries because troopers, chairmaker, willow work, and shepherd or barber. Yeah. So was the person on the barber one bald by the time they got around the whole thing? You know, was he snipping the whole way? Right. More Marlborough Carnival. Uh, I think that's the yes. This is just a larger version of the same one. So this is the Reading Mercury coverage of it from 1903, and this was printed. Marlborough were having their carnival. Must have been in the week running up to the 21st of November, which is a chilly time of year to be doing it. Right. So we haven't finished with Alborn yet, though. Let's push back further. So this isn't called the carnival, but 1899. The members of the Hospital Sunday Committee, so we're still doing things for hospital, um, representing the various places of worship and the Rational Friendly Society, begged to announce the annual collections in aid of the funds of the Savnak Hospital made on Sunday, August 6th, 1899, similar date. Are invited to meet in the square and march in procession to the church. At 2:30 on the green, the procession will be reformed and a house-to-house collection made. That sounds very carnival-like, but without the name carnival in my books. At 6 p.m., a great united meeting will be held. William Brown, Esquire, presiding, and addresses will be given by the representatives of all denominations. All brass band will attend. Nota bene, friendly societies wearing regalia are invited to join all processions. A collector will call round the outlying parts of the parish during the week, so you don't get escape if you're in Upper or Snap or out in the middle of the sticks. So that was August the 5th, 1899, that one.
That's annual collections. I'm not seeing continuation of what's been going on.
Oh, yeah, 1898. Same again. So we've still got Hospital Sunday, native Savnak Hospital. Friendly societies meet in the square, be a parade to the Wesleyan Chapel, meet on the green at 2:30, parade the village with collecting boxes. Public meeting held in the evening to be addressed by speakers from various places of worship. Once again, the chair to be William Brown. The Bishopston Brass Band will be in attendance. No mention of vows at that point. Perhaps. Kindred societies, kindred friendly societies cordially invited to join the procession. Once again, collector going around the outliers. So that was August the 4th, 1898. So we're still far back. I'm finished yet. 1897. Something very similar again. Meet on the green, parade the village with collecting boxes, public meeting with the ink pen brass band. Yeah, who knew? Right, so you might think I was going to run out there. I haven't quite. 1892. Right, so now we're starting to morph from something that's looking quite as much. So Sunday last harvest Thanksgiving held in the parish church. The offertory amount of £10 will be divided by the Farmers Benevolent Society, Clergy Pension Fund, and Savernake Hospital. So we're still getting a collection for the hospital, but now we're back to it's just part of the Harvest Festival. Sunday last, the Wesleyans held special services in aid of Savernake Hospital, chapel prettily decorated by the ladies of the congregation. Two sermons. Mr. Matthews of Lambourne preached two very appropriate sermons, morning and evening. The choir sang special hymns. The chapel steward has £3, 10 shillings to hand over to the treasurer. Yeah, Monday evening tea and an entertainment. So you can see the genesis. It's starting to morph away from what we know as Carnival, but it's still there. 1890. Wesleyans for Thanksgiving service. Offertories on behalf of Savernake Hospital. Monday public tea was held in the schoolroom when 60 sat down. Meeting in the chapel. Through the Harvest Festival, the chapel steward will have to. Didn't mean to do that. We'll have to hand over to Savernake Hospital authorities the sum of £5, 15 shillings. Back in 1890, that's not too bad, I think. If that was all pennies, it would weigh a bit as well. Those big old pennies. So that was in October 1890, but I think we're still around about Harvest Festival for that. 1888. Now we really are getting back to the roots. October the 14th, Harvest Festival. Holborn Brass Band perambulated the streets, played a good selection of sacred music on the village green. So we don't mention a collection there, but we do mention a perambulation. So that's cool. That was 1881. The handsome sum of £16 1 shilling was the amount of the annual collection at the Holborn Church. This is a bit smudgy. On Sunday, 25th September, in aid of the Savernake Cottage Hospital. So we're still collecting for the hospital, and that was in October, so it looks like it's still part of the harvest. So we're very nearly at the root. 1872. You didn't think I was going to get back far this with the carnival, did you? So, entertainment on Tuesday evening at the schoolroom. Mr. Griffin of Lambourne presiding. Readings gave great satisfaction, and singing was all that could be desired for the occasion. Mr. Hart of Hodson presided at the harmonium. Song sung, concluding with the national anthem, and the proceeds of the entertainment after the expenses were paid amounted to £2, 4 shillings and twopence, which will be given to Savernake Hospital. The only drawback was the smallness of the room, preventing many from attending. Because, of course, this is well before the memorial, so you're having to do with church rooms and the likes. And that is the earliest mention I've found of something that is the genesis point for Carnival. You can see how it evolved. We've devolved to get back to this, as it were. But there you go. The end.